thanks to all. Thank you for coming. It's our pleasure to do a session with Lou Photography Club today. My name is Tara Abdurrahman, and I'm in charge of the customer satisfaction in Nikon Middle East, whereby we have functions like Nikon School, service, NPS, all those functions. And I would like to also start thanking Shahrizan, the Grand Store's team, who have been very instrumental for this meeting and this connection. And without them, we couldn't have been meeting. So thanks Shahrizan.
Thank you.
Always very, very active in the UAE market and very instrumental for the Nikon success in UAE. To be frank, we are here all today, so we want to get closer to yourself in terms of the photography application, the difficulties, what you would be looking for, and we would like to interchange opinions from your side, from the field, and also from our side in terms of operation sometimes. Just in a very quick brief, I think I'm going to go through what we're doing in terms of Nikon School in Dubai. I might just also touch quickly on the region itself. And then, as per the agenda, we're going to have another 45 minutes of time lapse. My colleague Pradeep is going to just give a session on the essentials of time lapse. Yeah. So, what is Nikon School, which is a program that we have based in order to communicate and interact with photographers, with users in general on a broad spectrum. We would say we would like to connect with users, and that's how this program has allowed us to build this relationship, which is getting closer, getting to train users, beginners, and also to interact with photographers, enthusiasts, and professionals. And since we started 4 years back, Nikon School, we have structured the level of sessions in approximately three zones. The basic one, which deals with a person who had never known anything about photography, just bought an SLR, he doesn't know how to operate it, and we take them in a practical session. We just give them the confidence on how to use the camera. And moving from there, we have built also some intermediate sessions, which are more specific, more topic oriented, like portrait, family events, and video as well, we had recently. And finally, advanced sessions, which are probably or mostly done by some specific, specialized photographers. We are inviting people who are in the field, who are deeply doing that type of photography, to have an introductory session. So these are the 3 levels of Nikon School, and the basic is happening continuously almost every week at Garhoud, the Grand Store's classroom. So like that we're saying, we have for the basic and intermediate, we have 5x, we call it 5x. The domination came, has been evolved with time. It started with the basic training, and then we have added 1, 2, 3, 4 sessions on top of the basic, which makes it, which ended up to have we call 5x, which is existing right now. So anybody going to buy a camera is entitled to attend 5 classes, which people actually appreciate and compare to the sessions which are in the market. Well, just to give a bit of idea, I'll go very quickly in this. Those are a variety of Nikon schools across the region, with various setups in South Africa. That's how it started also in the Nikon Middle East. We had a classroom designed like that, and turned out to be like that. So yeah, that's what we had. We just shifted office, so now it's still similar to that setup, but Yeah, and we started a basic course. At that time it was paid. It really was valuing in the market around 500 dirhams, so we valued 500 dirhams. And we spoke for 3 hours plus 3 to 4 hours about these fundamentals of photography. But it's not only about the fundamentals of photography, it was how to apply it on the camera of the user. So they felt it very useful and very interactive, and it broke the fear of a user buying an SLR. SLR's been very affordable lately, so people are just buying, let me buy an SLR. But we've noticed that many of these people are just ending up putting a shelf and still using their smartphones. So the concept was, well, no, you can use it, it's easy to use, you can get good output, and that's why it is a camera, and that was the function of the role of this session, that training, which proved a significant success in its target. Yeah, so we created training vouchers, and we created a portal for registration, which was very new in the market. I mean, we've been leading this this training concept, and only after 3 years competition started to replicate the same. So it was a very unique and specific initiative, which was appreciated by users, and we have done also. We have been keen to keep improving and noticing, and been open to receive feedbacks. So yeah, that's how we evolved, and then we definitely spread across the region. In other countries as well, went to Africa with the same concepts, Qatar, Oman, Bahrain. So we've been in all countries, and it's, again, as I said, it's not a theory, it's not that we're talking and people are just taking the notes. It's interactive, making sure people understand how to use the camera, how to apply the photography concepts on their gears. Yeah, and it also evolved from just trainings to photo walks. So we've done photo walks around Jabal Ali here, and sometimes we've gone to Ras Al Khaimah. Done macro photography, we've done Nikon nights, education. Actually, Nikon School also was instrumental to convert the concept of photography exhibition. So we started in photography life by giving trainings 3 years back. It was very new, it was for some people very weird, I'm doing that, and then it turned, how that is the best way to get the photographers to be more related to events like this, and actually the latest versions of these exhibitions are mostly dominated by education. So now if you go to Photography Live, you see that everybody's giving education. So that's how that concept of interaction, engagement, getting closer to users has dominated, and it's not anymore about just projecting a product. Yeah, so now for do, we're just thinking it's quite important for us to have the same done with members like yourselves, but you are photographers already, so it is a bit difficult, or we thought how we can give a value to yourself, because you must be leaving your work time to come to join here. So for us to have it in both way benefits, we thought we need to have something given which could be beneficial to some of you at least, and also reasonable for us to apply. So maybe we thought of quarterly midday sessions like that time right now. We would run this variety of topics. So each time we're going to do some different topic on a quarterly basis, so every 3 months, let's say. And what we can create with these sessions is that 2 days loan, let's say for a limited loan, so maybe we can carry some gears, and today I realize that would be virtually impossible. but some years whoever wants to try lens, try flash could potentially avail that in such instances. So this is a quarterly, sessions which could last for 2 hours or an hour and a half, followed by a limited long year. Half yearly we can do photo walks. Obviously we'll avoid times like that, but yeah, we can pick somewhere in a good season, twice where the members could join with their friends or their families. We can arrange that. We are arranging that actually. Doing that time to time has just to be well planned. There is a benefit from users and from attendees. So yeah, that could be also like twice a year. And we can do a yearly sensor meeting. So one is covered already. So next year. Again. Yeah, so that's how we we thought of starting a relationship. Of course, we'll be happy if we see the interaction growing to also scale it up on the same level. So we're happy to help our users and other users as well, not only Nikon. But we usually hope. Anyway, we are happy to interact and to learn more. Actually, that's very good information for us. The same way that we are also passing some information that could be useful to yourself, you are giving us also equally important information and useful information for us to process, which would reflect on the way we market, the way we talk, the way we communicate, or even sometimes the way we design the product as well. So that is equally important to us. So yeah, scaling up this relationship is open. We are happy for it, or as long as we see this that attention from your side. So we definitely be happy to get into a higher scale of relationship. Also, I have with me Akshay. Is taking care of UAE from Nikon Middle East, and outside we have two service members, one of them from Nikon Middle East and from Grand Stores, who are welcoming your Nikon deals. We are not allowed to touch any other. That's not our rejection, but that's we just by obligation. We cannot. It's a legal issue if we try to service any other brands. We are not taking it as enemies or something. That's not the case, but we cannot. Also, I'm sorry, I forgot very important person. You see from the Middle East as well. He is the most experienced, most knowledgeable of everybody, including the Middle East. So yeah. So Mr. Akshay, also you have something about some offers.
I think that the information is in there.
No, I don't have it.
Probably I'll share it when his session starts because he's got the.
Okay, fine. So we move to the second part of today, and Mr. Khalid is going to talk about time lapse. So we selected time lapse this time because my way of thinking was that we'll have many of your photographers knowing also sort of our expertise. We saw that you guys are not on an elementary level, so better to select a topic which is usually left aside by photographers. So we selected time lapse at this time. So I hope it could be, it's an introduction actually to time lapse. Hope it will be useful to yourselves, and thank you. Let's start.
Thank you. Good afternoon, guys. My name is Pradeep. I can't call myself a photographer. I'm on Instagram. How many of you are on Instagram? I'm sure pretty much everybody is, right? So I started my journey on Instagram. A lot of professional photographers took to 500px and Facebook. I thought Instagram would be an amazing platform. It is, by the way, for those of you who consider it a little less. There are a lot more users on Instagram than any other platform right now. So I'm going to show you what exactly we can do with a time lapse. So I'm going to give you guys a basic introduction about how to shoot a time lapse. Before I start that, I want to ask you guys, how many of you have shot time lapses?
Tried.
Right? You have never tried.
We tried, but it didn't work out.
It didn't work out.
I tried basically by using the built-in feature of the DSLR, and it's pretty much time saving, to be honest.
Yeah, which is something which I'll talk about during this presentation. So I'm going to make I don't want to bore you guys with very technical stuff because I used to be very bored. I used to get very bored when someone talks really technical. But at the same time, I want to make it as easy as possible when you guys want to shoot time lapse. All right? So I'll start off with first things. What is a time lapse? A time lapse is basically you're showing motion, and you're showing a chronological movement. All right? So movement is very important with time lapse, which is the same case with video. But here with time lapse, you get a continuous movement at a specified interval. So you need to decide that number when you're deciding to shoot time lapse. I'm going to show you an example. So I shot this
You get the TV screens, you get a better idea of the color also.
Yeah. That's fine.
It's fine, right?
We just found you in Instagram.
Sorry?
We just found you in Instagram.
So of course you want to show this kind of walk movement. You can either slow it down, you can either slow down time, or you can speed up time. So I'm going to tell you guys about what you exactly need for a time lapse. Simple things are, you need a sturdy tripod or a gorilla pod. You need your DSLR with ideally a battery pack, depends on how much of time you require to shoot. And if you guys can get hold of any app, there are a lot of free apps on your iOS or your Android to track the changes in light, especially when you're shooting sunrise or sunset. You need an app to tell you how light reduces or how light increases. Alright? I use something called PhotoPills. PhotoPills is an app which you can find on both iOS and Android, and this exactly tells me how sunset and sunrise works. Because every time, the first thing that you usually start off with the time lapse is when you shoot landscapes. And the best times to shoot landscape is either the sunrise or sunset. We all know that, right? So if you want to shoot and you want to plan your shoot when you're using an app like this, it's only going to help you further. First thing that you need to do when you're shooting a time lapse is you need to shoot on manual mode. When I say manual mode, you will have to shoot with a manual aperture, manual shutter speed, and manual ISO. I'm going to show you an example later in this presentation where if you don't shoot on manual and if you end up shooting on either a priority mode or if you're shooting on auto ISO, you get something called a flicker. Alright? And sometimes what happens is the movement that you expect from a time lapse is not the same as what you can actually see. Alright? The second thing is manual focus. When you put it on manual focus, you need to adjust your focus the way you see it. Alright? And you need to lock that focus. I hope everybody understands what manual focus is. Right? Are there any first time photographers who've never done photography at all? There's no one. So manual focus is something which
We're very basic.
very basic.
Very
I
basic.
started out very basic. So
We're familiar with the term.
you're familiar with the terms? You understand aperture, shutter speed, and ISO.
Yeah.
Now, do you want me to teach you how to do manual focus?
Yes.
Yes. I'm going to show you guys an example. I've got my camera with me. Is it an HD camera?
It is.
Someone not working.
Which one? Well, it will show this on the screen.
It will show on the screen.
If you use
I've
this,
got a wire as well, mini HDMI.
use the cable next to your lap. No?
Should be okay.
I've got a cable. I need money. That's okay. I'll just show you guys how to manually focus with your DSLR. My favorite kind of time lapses are astro time lapses. I love to shoot the night sky, so I love to do astro time. I love to shoot stars. By the way, Middle East is one of the best places to do astrophotography. The advantage that we have is that there are no clouds. Very, very few clouds. So you can easily get the Milky Way. Right? You'll be able to easily see the Milky Way. In fact, it's the Milky Way season right now. Till about September, you'll be able to see the Milky Way. I mean, it's visible really well.
You also want to
This
listen.
one can help you correct the item.
What's your favorite spot for Milky Way?
Al Quwa, one of the darkest places.
Goa.
Al Quwa, which is near the UAE prisoners, right?
That's Razeen.
Sorry?
Razeen. Razeen is the place where the prisoners are.
The
Abu
maximum
Dhabi.
security prison?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's between Alain and Abu Dhabi.
Ah, yeah, the same spot. Yes.
It's called Al Quwa.
Goa. I know it as Razeen.
Razeen.
Yeah, because the prisoner, that jail is called Razeen.
Or Liva. Liva is a very good place to do.
Oh, Liva. But you have to drive like 4 hours.
You have to travel, 3.5, 4 hours. And the only thing with Liva is that you'll have to go into the desert. So there's a little bit of walking as well that you have to do. But the sky that you get here, especially here in the UAE, is really, really good. Another good place to do astrophotography is also Oman. If you guys get an opportunity, Musandam is a really nice place to do astrophotography.
You, my friend, went to Jabal Shams in Oman. Jabal Shams.
Jabal al-Shams, right?
Beautiful.
Jabal al-Shams.
Jabal Akhtar.
Yeah, Jabal al-Shams is
Jabal
also.
Shams, where they have the Milky Way shot. Amazing.
It's okay. Can I get back?
People are amazing.
Okay, in terms of manual focusing, it's very simple. There are two ways in which you do this. When you're shooting during the day, your lens has an autofocus and a manual focus switch, which is right here. Alright? So what you need to do is you need to put it on manual, and you'll have to look through the viewfinder of your camera. Okay? So in case I'm going to do a time lapse from here right now. If I had to do a time lapse from here right now and I wanted to get everything in the horizon that I can see clearly. So what I would do is that, say for example, I can see the Atlantis from here. Alright? So if I want to get the crispness or the sharpness of that building, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the magnifying glass, which is right here, which is
Plus.
the plus sign. I'm going to press plus, and it moves closer. It zooms in to the Atlantis. right next to the Atlantis. Alright? So as long as it zooms right in, you go to the maximum zoom and then you adjust your manual focus until you see the Atlantis really clearly. Okay? And after that, Nikon has something called a focus lock. I'm sure other brands have it as well. Yeah? So you can lock that focus. Okay? You can lock that focus and then you can press the minus sign to come back onto your scene, and then you can compose it. Another thing which you can do, especially when you're doing astrophotography, say in the night, and if you want to do a time lapse, if you want to lock your focus, ideally what you do is you look at the brightest star in the sky. Anybody tell me what is the brightest star in the sky? Brightest star in the sky, which you can actually see.
Venus?
Venus, of course, is a planet, but it is the brightest star in the sky, and you can see Venus on any night. The thing that you need to do is that you need to go to a place where there's very less light pollution. So you need to obviously go out of the city. So what I would do is, when I'm doing an astro shot, and in order to lock that focus, is I do the same thing. I put it on manual. Again, I put my viewfinder on, and I focus on Venus, and I zoom into Venus, and I adjust my manual focus. Alright? But in this scenario, if you look at the top of your lens, you will be able to see an infinity sign. Alright? So you can put this manual focus right next to infinity, and you lock the focus again. So which means this camera can focus up to infinity. Alright? And then you go ahead and you choose your exposure. So choosing your exposure also makes a big difference, especially when you're shooting from evening to night. Because what happens that time is that exposure keeps changing, because light changes every minute. So you'll have to be very careful when you're choosing your exposure. A lot of people, what they do is, when they want to transition between, say, evening and night, they try and shoot on aperture priority. Alright? I'll show you an example where I shot on aperture priority, and you tell me what went wrong. After this, you will have those extra number of frames which you can obviously add or you can cut out. There's an app called LR time lapse. Has anybody tried it? Lightroom?
So this time lapse, is the camera recording pictures and then you make them a video? Or
Yes.
is the camera
is recording pictures and then you make them into a video.
So you import them into something to make a video out of them?
Sorry?
You import them to an application?
Yes, it's called LR time lapse.
Okay.
It's
So basically the camera, you just select the shooting period.
You would select the shooting
Then you
period,
just take the images and do whatever you want.
which is why a little bit of post-production is required.
Right. The camera cannot create an actual video out of those.
It can. Our cameras can. Nikon cameras can, because we've got the option of something called an inbuilt time-lapse function. So what the camera does is, say for example, I'm clicking on my menu. Again, it depends on the camera that you guys have. All our full frame cameras, including the 7 series, has an inbuilt time-lapse function. Even the 5600 now has inbuilt time-lapse. So from the 5 series onwards, we've started the inbuilt time-lapse function. Now what the inbuilt time-lapse function does is very, very simple. You have a start time. You have, the first thing that you see here is the duration between each frame. Alright? Say here it's 8 seconds. And then you have an option which shows you the number of hours that you need to shoot that particular time lapse. Alright? You decide your duration. So you can choose the duration right here. And when you choose that, it is going to show you how much space is required, first thing, and then how much of seconds will you be able to get as a time lapse.
So like in this example,
Yeah.
the 8 seconds is the interval between 2 frames.
8 seconds is the interval between 2
I
frames.
have to shoot for 1 hour,
1 hour 36 minutes, and I will be able to get
30 seconds.
30 seconds of time lapse
With 24 frames per second.
with 24 frames per second. Now here, you're not going to get any images. You're going to get an actual video coming out of your camera. So there's no amount of post-production involved. The next thing that you would ideally do for post-production is if you're actually putting this or including this as part of a whole video, then you can put it on to say Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro. That's what ideally nowadays people use for editing video. Or Sony Vegas. That's another app that people use. Alright? Now this completely changes once you decide to do astro time lapse. Because when you decide to do an astro time lapse, you need to make sure that you have sufficient amount of time between each frame. Because if I'm shooting a frame for say 30 seconds or say 25 seconds, ideally that's an ideal exposure time if you want to see the Milky Way, alright, or even lesser, because it depends on the camera as well. You ideally keep an ISO of 3200 if you want to see the Milky Way, and you'll be able to get it around 13 to 15 seconds. You'll be able to get a clear Milky Way shot, alright? But you need to keep in mind that every time the camera finishes clicking say 30 seconds, it's going to immediately start an exposure if you're going to have the period between each exposure, the duration between each exposure, if it's less than 30 seconds. Alright? I'll explain how. Say for example, I'm shooting 30 seconds and I keep a gap of say 5 seconds between each exposure. So the camera takes the first shot. After 30 seconds, it closes, and within 5 seconds, it takes the next exposure. So the movement of those stars is not that much. So you need to show movement, right? And you need to show considerable movement. So what I would ideally suggest when you're shooting a time lapse is you leave a gap of say another 30 seconds. So you add, if for example it's 8 seconds right here, you add 30 seconds to this. So it's 38 seconds, which means your time lapse is going to go longer. So you shoot your first exposure, you wait for whatever exposure time that you get, plus what is the gap that you need between two exposures. That's how you shoot an astro time lapse. Because
what we already waited for 30 seconds after first exposure, it's sufficient. Don't you think why we need extra 8 seconds?
because of the movement. If you want to move, if you want to see the movement of stars, I'll show you an example which I did right now.
The stars are moving.
Yeah. So this one was with clouds. I'll show you something without clouds.
That's a cool smell.
Just a second. So the Milky Way is actually right behind these stars. You can't see the Milky Way that much when there's when the moon is there. You know, so ideally you shoot the Milky Way only when there's no moon. And a lot of people think that astrophotography is like very difficult, but it's one of the easiest and most interesting type of photography. And when you try and capture that on time lapse, it's even more better.
So that's you shot it frames by frame or
No,
using the
I shot this with the inbuilt time lapse. Because I've started doing a lot more video. So if I have to keep putting that on post processing, put it onto like like Lightroom time lapse, it takes a lot of time, so which is why
There is a plugin for Lightroom.
yeah, there's a plugin for Lightroom. It's called LR time lapse. It's a free download. You'll be able to get a free download. But if you get the chance to use After Effects, that's another app which you guys can buy. In case you guys, I'm sure you guys use Creative Cloud, right? How many of you use Creative Cloud? Right? Lightroom, Photoshop. If you get the whole package, you get After Effects along with it.
The Lightroom doesn't do it.
Sorry?
The Lightroom doesn't do
Now
it.
Lightroom can do it if you can download LR time lapse. LR time lapse again is free.
Creative Cloud for photographers doesn't include effects.
No.
After Effects.
For photographers doesn't include, but you've got the whole package, like Creative.
Yeah, in the cloud.
I have
Oh, the
In the cloud
Photoshop
suite, it's there.
the
But
cloud
we have
suite is there, but only for photographers. Is
Yes,
not,
that's there.
because it's only Lightroom and Photoshop. But
Yeah.
if you can get After Effects, After Effects, of course, there are a lot of other things also you can do in After Effects. Like, for example, if you're shooting video and say it's a dark day, it's not raining though, but you can make rain. That's what After Effects does. But then when you put it on After Effects, it processes your images really fast. There's something called a hyperlapse. Hyperlapse is when you take your camera, put your camera on a tripod, and you keep moving. You decide the interval between each shot, and you can keep moving along, and it'll show you a time lapse, of course, but you're moving along with the time lapse. Or you can use a slider. Sliders are expensive. So in case you don't want to use a slider, you can use something called
Sliders are, it's a different world.
sorry?
It's a different world.
Yeah.
Sliders.
Sliders obviously help you. Again, a lot of astrophotographers, they use sliders to shoot astro time lapses. Any questions? Anything that you guys want to know in terms of time lapse? Are you guys going to try a time lapse?
No, we'll do it afterwards.
I will also try.
Again, because I'm a beginner, what type of lens would you recommend?
It actually depends. You can use any lens for a time lapse. There is no specific lens to use for a time lapse, but when you're shooting a time lapse, you would want to shoot a landscape, or you would want to, even if you want to shoot the street, you would ideally use a wide lens. Because with a wide lens, you can get much more in your frame.
To show the movement of the surrounding.
So any DSLR, again, it doesn't need to necessarily be a full frame or a crop. I mean, it can even be a crop frame and still you'll be able to.
Even for your like astro, you need a wide lens.
You need a wide lens. For astro, you definitely need a wide lens. You need a lens which has an aperture of 2.8 or below.
About 50 mm.
Yeah, 50 mm 1.8. Again, you can shoot astro with 50 mm 1.8, but you won't be able to get a wide shot. You understand what I mean? Because you need to obviously you can't go back anywhere because the sky is huge, right? So that's the thing. So that's why you ideally go for a wide lens.
But you can get the main core into the frame. You can get it.
You will be able to get, like for example, I've just got the 1424 here. Right? So I'll be able to see a lot more when I'm shooting astro in comparison to you when you put your 50 mm. But the 50 mm, the good part is 1.8.
Yes.
The aperture opens up like really well.
Yes.
Again, so your shooting time, that your shutter speed is less compared to when I'm shooting at 2.8. But that duration is very negligible. So we do a lot of photo walks like what Tariq-san had mentioned. We do astro photo walks. I conduct a lot of Insta meets. Insta meets are basically
Last year there was one astro photo walk, right?
Yes, even this
in
year.
Alcudra actually. It was.
Sorry, Al Qudra. Yeah. It was this year.
I missed it. This
No,
one.
this
year.
year.
It was this year. We just did a photo walk in May. Yeah. So we will definitely invite you for our photo walks. Again, we provide transportation as well. We just pick you up from a certain point and then we drop you back in the same place. But the only thing is that we do an all-nighter. So we go there early, we go early to the venue and return by, we go there by like 10 o'clock, we're there, and then we return by like say 6:30. So it's an all-nighter.
So not like that, of course. There
question regarding the time-lapse concept. Is it better to take the time-lapse through DSLR or through action cameras like the new Nikon ME? Does it have the same quality? Is there any main difference?
Quality in terms, because your output is what you need to when you go. Like for example, this one shoots at 1080p
Okay.
at 24 frames per second, 25 frames per second. And even if with your key machine, you can do pretty much the same.
Okay.
Again, it shoots at 4K.
Okay. That's
So
why
our
I'm asking.
inbuilt time-lapse option, which is on the DSLR, I don't think so any camera brand, to be honest, has 4K time-lapse inbuilt function so far.
Okay.
DSLR.
But
But
I think
our
it's
key
not
machine
yet
does.
released. I think it's not yet released. The key machine.
Sorry?
I asked it everywhere. It was launched like October 2016.
Yeah, 26.
I checked it in Europe. It was not released. Here in UAE, I went to Grand Store several
Yeah,
times.
in Middle East it's not been launched.
It's not been launched in the Middle East.
Okay. Any plans or?
No, it was only reserved for some key markets, so it never came to Middle East that range.
Okay. I didn't find in Europe.
Yeah,
Till
I think
November.
only US and some other countries launched.
BNH had some.
Yeah,
BNH
US
has.
has. US has.
Question.
So just trying to explain.
For that night, I can understand I need DSLR for retro time-lapse. But now the phones, they do have time-lapse feature, which I can use in the daytime quite decently, and they provide 4K results. So why I still need DSLR for daytime shooting? Undergoes daytime shooting. Like I need a quick result, compatibility, affordability,
Yeah.
and so I, being a typical normal user, don't you think it's better to shoot with an iPhone time-lapse rather than I carry a DSLR, put it on the tripod and then shoot?
It's also about the process, right? Because, for example, if I'm using my iPhone, I don't need to do anything, just press and it just shoots. Alright? But here, when you're actually shooting with the DSLR, you learn about the process, you learn about how time is calculated.
Yeah, see, I already mentioned before, for the night, I understand, I need 2.8 aperture lens, I need a high ISO machine to see the Milky Way 32,000 or 6400 ISO. But for the daytime, I don't need those things. I can,
Daytime also, in terms of like when you do manual focus, right? When you do manual focus, when you decide your own depth, you know that nothing is going to go wrong because you have full control over your DSLR. Because you know how to.
for example, right now, in this current scenario, I'm going to shoot palm using an iPhone, and you're going to shoot 5750, the same shot. So, will it take going to be any difference in quality? I don't think so.
Quality, I mean, nowadays pretty much smartphones, they have that kind of quality. But the thing is that, that's what I'm saying, the process, that's what makes
You're enjoying the photography.
You're enjoying the photography,
Yeah.
and you know that it's a sure shot thing that you will not get anything wrong. Because you're going through the process. What is the guarantee that iPhone can give you? I know you're saying that iPhone or any other smartphone for that matter is going to give you that kind of quality.
It's not up to that, but still close. Yeah, I can use ND filter in front of the lens. I can do many alteration in my time lapse, which I cannot do with the smartphone. Like for example, why I'm saying this? I always want to push myself to do irregular things.
Yeah.
Like I did with Nokia Lumia 1020, 41 megapixel phone.
Yeah.
I did a long exposure shot using that phone. Now it sounds crazy, but I did. And when I took 19 shots at different shutter speeds because I cannot change the aperture, I fixed the ISO, I fixed the focus. The only thing which is mind control was the shutter speed. So I took 19 shots from 1/68 of a second up to 1 second of a sunset.
Yeah.
I stacked that, and just like I used the NT filter to smooth the sea waves. I took a seascape shot, I'll show you. So,
You were happy with it?
see, the thing is, yeah, I know because I did that, I took a detour
Okay.
and I was able to make it. For a normal user, they don't know how to do it. But somehow I figured it out, I did it.
Again, sheer size of sensor. That's another thing.
Yeah, because Lumia 1020 phone has the biggest sensor in the smartphone yet. So it provides me enough post-processing depth, which I need.
So there's a lot of, a lot of people say no, equipment doesn't matter.
Yes, but
It does matter. It does matter a lot. Because, like for example, everybody can say, oh yeah, I can click this with my iPhone. Why? I can just use an iPhone. But no, that's not the case. Equipment will matter when you want to get to a next level. Alright? You can be satisfied. Anybody can be satisfied with whatever they have. But then, we as human beings, we always want to get to the next level.
But like Instagram is killing this.
Sorry?
Instagram is
Yeah.
killing this.
It's selling.
Instagram gone. Like
But that's what I'm saying. Those kind of Instagrammers are ideally the ones who do flat lays or just want to shoot food or anything like that. There is a whole there's a whole spectrum of Instagram who just shoot DSLR, and you should see the results that we have. We have a community. There are a lot of communities on Instagram where people do
DSLRs, many shooters do.
like amazing shooters. You'll be able to see a clear difference between a person using a phone and a person using a DSLR by just looking at their feed. Right? Depends on what they shoot. Like for me, I don't like to restrict myself in terms of equipment, which is why I shoot with a DSLR. I don't like to restrict myself in terms of what I can do with my creativity. So when I want to do that, most important thing is I choose the sensor. Because with a bigger sensor, I can do much more. Why would I want to restrict my creativity to such a small sensor?
But actually, when we tell people that equipment doesn't matter, most of the people actually don't mean that actually everything comes with the creativity. But the problem is that when we talk about equipment nowadays, the people actually go after equipment. Oh, Sony has done this. Oh, Nikon has done this. Oh, Canon has done this. And if you see, people are talking about the equipment only.
Yeah.
And the creativity goes. People actually, when we are telling people that okay, first go for your creativity, because if you are buying a high-end camera and it's lying in the cupboard for nothing, then it's a waste of money.
It's an effort.
By telling people that equipment doesn't matter, is that first you see what your pocket allows you to do. Because for this time lapse, 100 of people sitting in the hall will say, wow, this is something very nice. But yes, do you have that patience to do that time lapse? At least at this time when I am at very advanced level, even still I don't have patience to go for time lapse. I will never try it because I don't have patience. I have don't patience to sit and go and see that okay, after 4 hours, 3 hours. For me, the best thing is going for portraits or going for the landscapes. You go at the landscape, you go at the right time, and you do it and come back. Portraits, any time of the day, not more than 2 or 3 hours. So, it's a session.
It's not.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
come.
I understand why you're preaching.
but we can relate.
What I'm saying is, like a lot of people keep saying that, oh, my phone is enough, I'm a creative person, my phone can do everything. Phone cannot.
Yes, definitely. When you get creative to a certain point, then you need to.
Then after that, what?
The people who come to me for learn, I tell them that okay, start from somewhere. When there will be a time when you will feel now you need to upgrade your things, you need to add more things. Because when I picked up camera, I didn't go and buy the 70-200 lens for the first time. I actually went to that level when my creativity was actually got challenged with the equipment.
I went the opposite field. When I started photography, my first camera was a D810 with a 24-70 and a speed light. These are the 3 things that I had when I started. So, like a lot of my friends told me, why are you buying this? Why don't you just learn slowly? I mean, you then suddenly from a DX sensor, why don't you move to an FX? I said, what? Why? I want to learn everything. I have a lot of ideas. So why would I want to wait for something to happen? Oh, and then I get to the next level. So I went ahead and I invested. And it has reaped me rich dividends.
No, actually, that's the difference of the experience. When you meet people, then you talk to people, then somebody comes to you and for an idea, what camera should I buy?
Yeah.
After talking to him for some certain time, you come to know that what is the enthusiasm level he actually into. Now for you and me, for me also, this was the same case. I actually went to the market and at that time with my pocket, the best camera I could buy was a 70, Canon 70. It's a professional level but crop sensor. So I started with a big camera also. But the thing is for those people who actually you come to learn things and then you talk to them, okay, what. In those 100 words you come to know that, okay, what will be going to be in next 6 months. He will buy a camera, then he will come, oh shit, it's blurry and the camera is lying in the cupboard for 3 weeks, then he will bring it. For me and you, there are people who are enthusiasts. When they come to us and we say, why don't you buy this 60 or go to 50 or go to 810, so you will have much easier to go for it. Definitely, the enthusiasm level is definitely.
It changes a lot. Like I was not a photographer when I joined Nikon. I mean, my colleagues will be able to tell you. I became a
Nobody was a
photographer.
photographer when they actually picked up the camera. All of the bigger ones, you read their stories, they were never into those things. They suddenly, one day actually somebody told them, okay, pick up the camera. And they actually, the world turned from here to there.
Truly, I believe in that. Totally. Anything else there? If at any given point of time you guys want to ask me any kind of questions, I'm sorry, I'm very active on Instagram. So you guys can ask me anything there and I will.
No, it's a good opportunity for all of the club that certain things don't actually fall into your lap so much easily. So you can ask questions, you can actually
Yes.
build them out for these things.
You can.
Pleasure.
Please, I'll be more than happy to assist you guys. And another thing is that, like you were saying, he loves to shoot landscapes, portraits. The first thing that I learned, or probably at least I experienced, I don't restrict myself in any genre. I shoot everything. It's not because I didn't want to choose any particular genre. Because when you shoot everything, you're just used to it. So that is why I'm not a specialist in time lapse, but I can do time lapse. I can do good time lapse. So what I did was, even when I shot portraits is something is what I started with. But I didn't want to just keep myself in portraits. So I started traveling. And then I started doing landscape. And then I started doing street. So the thing that I learned from Nikon as well, is that don't restrict your creativity, don't restrict your reach. Because when you do that, people want to see variety nowadays.
You are good in time lapse, that's why my guys choose you to be here.
Thank you.
Maybe one of the challenging topics that we need in the future, maybe the lighting techniques, how these
We
things.
have one right in front of you.
Run away variety.
We can definitely do.
Inshallah, maybe we are running another one for lighting.
Like we need feedback from you guys, because the more feedback we get, because what we do is we ideally try and plan everything out. And when we plan something out, we obviously want to know what you guys are saying.
Actually, the plan which he shared was, it actually somehow covers many things which
Yeah.
people want to learn.
Yeah.
But yes, when sitting here, maybe outside I will be talking something else, but sitting here in this forum, when we talk about landscape and portraits, because the people around here are professionals and busy people.
Yeah, yeah.
So they actually, when they get holidays with their children, they go to some countries. So they don't have enough time to do the time lapse, but they have enough time to do the nice pictures of the landscapes,
Yeah.
and the pictures of their family. So they want to excel in that. That is one of the major things people come here to learn. And the second thing, these are the excellent things. The thing is that
Well, time lapse, honestly, this is a bonus if you ask me.
yes,
Like, the first thing that any guy or any person who take a DSLR as a newbie or as a new user, the first two things that they do is they take a shot of a person or take a shot of the landscape or any scene. That's the two things. So, getting a time lapse right now,
no, this is I'm not saying that you should not go for this. I said somehow this covers everything, but most of the people want that more than these things. Now you cannot disagree
You can
with
let
this
us know
thing
whichever
that
topic you guys want.
enthusiasm
No,
actually
that's fine.
drives you everywhere.
It's up to the members what they like to. If you like to learn landscape, portrait, we can ask them. They can help you guys.
I think we can coordinate what most of the members could be expecting next time. Maybe through Mr. Costas or so, through whoever you would like to have a window of communication. And we would definitely prepare for it. I mean, prepare for it even, as I said, maybe better than this time. We can get some of the...
We can have poll on our
Yes, in our
poll with the
let's
topics.
have a poll.
And regarding the
Exactly.
No, that we will create a poll on the. We will
Based
create
on their
polls.
offerings, let's have a poll. Whichever people ask more, we
So now you will understand what is the interest is going to which topics.
Yeah, because again, you must be having a variety of expertise within your groups. We are 150, right? So some of you are expert in lighting, some of you are expert in video or whatever. So whatever we're going to pick will be interesting for some and not for others. So let's create a rotation like that, and every time some of you will be interested in that specific topic. And then you could decide that, and be there.
I'm interested in lighting.
Lighting is a challenge, and even lighting.
No, we will rotate.
For all type of
Having said
cameras.
this, having
Cover
said
all
this,
people will come. Here, maybe it's dedicated for Nikon only. But we have other people, Sony, who are using Canon.
No, but the general topic.
I'm sure. Where are the technology covers? I'm sure where are the technology covers, they are going to cover Nikon. But where are these things are covering, he actually showed what he is seeing on his camera. But he never said that it cannot be done on other cameras.
All this can be done by all
So
cameras.
those topics are not going to touch the technologies. But yes, we are going to rotate these things because everybody has a different interest. But we want to create an enthusiasm or a thing from where we should start, so people can have an interest in coming and learning.
We can use the
Yes,
Facebook when we discuss these things. So
It's very useful to pick topics as well, but in addition, one of my challenges as a beginner, once I've taken the picture, I see mistakes, but I don't know I need some advice on how to correct it. So for example, a few weeks ago I had an opportunity to take pictures of a stream waterfall. And I thought I captured it quite well, but when I looked at the picture, it came out very dark. And then I had to play a little bit afterwards with the pros. So that's, as a new user, I think that would be also quite helpful to understand how to perfection. Share it amongst the group to get some advice as well.
This we can do also.
The
Meanwhile,
practical element, I think.
while we are telling you that this getting a facility from this opportunity, we will be actually, this was in my mind before also, we will be discussing this, that we will be arranging other sessions also with some good photographer. Maybe we will call him again for a special session where we can actually ask the people to just come to him and show your pictures and get an expert opinion from him that what I can do to better things.
So now with time lapse, I can go.
But that's what he suggested also.
I'm going
Let's
on holiday,
create a
I come
poll.
back,
Let's
I can showcase what
rotate
I
things
learned.
accordingly.
And that itself is also, let's say, we can classify it as a topic, which is image critique. So we can put it as, we have one time an image critique.
I think every session can have the same
Yes,
topic.
every session can have some
Elsewise,
selected.
every session could encapsulate 15 minutes or 20 minutes image critique.
And before they come, we can actually internally select some pictures to tell them that okay, give us a critic on this.
We'll do that. I think that's a very good idea.
Interactive.
Because
if you can
I
send
mean,
them,
now
send
with
them
time
before,
lapse, I'm
then they can
keen
have
to
it.
go out and do it. First of all, it's fun. I'll have to wait until I
Just
travel
a-
the first time.
Just a
Until
suggestion.
I come back will be September,
Right,
end of August.
Maybe we can.
And then probably we would have forgotten to move on to another topic. So I think it's important as well to remind.
See,
Well,
honestly, whatever the genre you like to shoot, you have to practice. And you need to get yourself in trouble by going out into the remote locations to shoot a good time lapse like he did. Like you have to go out at night, spend whole night into the wild, where you will be scared of getting snakes, scorpions. I'm not kidding. Really.
That's a very long way.
Very scary.
But you have to put.
No,
Yes,
you
yes,
can
you
also
have to
create
put
time
that.
lapse in other situations.
It is
Actually,
I would be more
knowing-
interested in doing it
actually
in my
knowing-
neighborhood.
Actually,
And
knowing
is it
Baba-
possible to do it? If it is yes, then it is very good.
Actually-
Rather than going to a snake place.
You can do
Actually,
it for
knowing
your
Babar, I
family.
can easily tell you that whenever you ask him, he will actually ask you to take practice with some difficult example. But the thing is, in photography, actually you have to practice a lot. Means it doesn't mean that I am asking you to go in 48 degrees centigrade outside and do the practice. You can do it at home. But for God's sake, every time we tell that if you have bought the camera, use it. Even when you are sitting
Yes, use it.
idle, use it.
I use
Try
it.
to take the pictures of your phone and everything. Actually, then when you will come with those things, even we will call these guys, the club members are also here. You can ask them, okay, where I went wrong on these things. So you will improve with those things. Like means to tell the difficult stories. Even my best portraits were taken in 48 degrees centigrade in Dubai, which were liked by most of the people. Now that is an enthusiasm that I was standing there and my model was sitting on a hot ground to give me that picture. But we are not asking you to do that. But definitely to reach to that level when you understand what light I can use, where I am doing wrong, you have to practice.
Exactly. But you need someone to help you as well and guide you.
So
I
for-
can see my
For that we
mistakes
have
and
actually arranged this forum. That this will be an expert forum. Then we will have our own forum. So most of the people see me actually roaming around the